Hello, it's the Flowered Robin. Today, I wanted to give a testimony. I have been not doing videos lately because I try to stick to what the Lord leads me to do. I don't want to do anything out of God's will when it comes to these videos because honestly, I wouldn't have done them in the first place had He not impressed upon my heart to do so. But today I was in deep thought because I have been trying to figure out which direction to go next. You know, originally I would be talking about my book, and I didn't want to, I didn't know where else to go with it. Let's put it that way for now. So I put that on pause and just did some, text posts to pass time by and get enough followers and things like that. I'm not one to follow a lot of trends. I just want to be obedient to God. So today, this testimony I am giving is about, it's mostly about my children. I was a young mother. I became a mother at 17 years old. I had 3 children out of wedlock and then got married 25, had 3 more children. The testimony is actually fast forwarded from that time. My daughter, our oldest daughter, who is now 41, is graduating from high school, and I'm very proud of her. It was a long journey, and that's what my testimony is about. Our journey. Our journey, and many have said this part is not anything that someone has said, that our journey is not about us, it is about others, and most of it is about others. The lessons along the way are usually for us. So she struggled in school, period. From the time she started school, preschool she struggled, elementary she struggled, middle school she struggled, high school she struggled. And it was difficult for me because I didn't know how to help her. Me being a single parent at the time and working hours that weren't always the best hours to work. I worked third shift a lot with my children, and not out of choice. It was just what was available for the amount of money I was making. And so I couldn't afford to send her to special school where she could get the help she needed. I didn't know how to help her. Like I said, she would bring home homework and it would be just like 2 pages, but it would take her like hours. And she would still not get it, and I didn't know how else to help her. And so over the years, she passed along to the next grade. I think it was, and she would have to correct me, I think it was 11th or 12th grade. I'm thinking 12th grade. I can't remember for sure. But I was having issues with babysitting, and she was having issues in school. And so sometimes she'd end up watching the kids because she was struggling so in school. She wasn't going to finish, and she didn't finish. And when I look back on it, I blame myself for some of it because, I did the best I could at the time, but, looking back, I could have did better. But, we grow up and we learn things, and, there are things we wish we could go back and change, but so it is. So all these years, she's gone to adult school, I think twice since then. and she still struggled. So over the years, she just kind of stopped going. Well, in between time, let me tell you what happens. My oldest son, who is now 39, he also didn't graduate high school. Now, at the time, he was not living with me. He was living with his father. And there's a story about that, but it's too long for me to tell. But I got a call from the school when he was probably 6 months from graduating that he was not going to graduate, that he was not going to walk. So you can imagine the thoughts were going through my head. I already had one child who hadn't graduated. This is my second. It's not graduating, not walking. And I tried to do everything I could. And I won't say anything, as far as his dad goes. That's all in the past. But let's just say he didn't graduate. So now I have 2 children who have not graduated. My third child, she left home when she was 15. And you have to remember, in between this time, I'm growing up a lot myself. And I'm working long hours, and I'm working third. And not always, I didn't always have the energy to do what I needed to do. Not that I was a terrible mom. I was just doing the best I could at the time. So she was, I won't say much about their lives because that's their lives, but just to say she did not live with me and did not graduate also. So then here comes child number 4. My son, my second son. He did fine until, I believe, 11th grade, maybe 12th grade. 12th grade, I believe it was. And I started getting calls that he wasn't showing up to school, even though I see him off to school every morning for some reason. He was not at school. He was not attending school. So I tried to get some help from someone very close to him, but that didn't work out. And long story short, because it is a long story, between all of these stories, there's a long story. He didn't graduate. So now, by now, I'm like at the point of embarrassment. Because I have 4 children. I'm a graduate myself. I attended college, even though I didn't finish. I did attend college, so this is not someone who was a dropout themselves. And I wasn't a person who, I wasn't a straight A person. I could have been, but definitely made good grades in school. And so this was kind of embarrassing for me. It's not, like I said at the beginning, this is not a testimony I would have given years ago, but I just felt led today to say it because I feel like I want this to reach somebody whose lives aren't always what we see on Facebook or, I'm sorry, I should say, on FB. Because a lot of times that's exactly what it is, it's face, right? It's easy to put a smile on and put our family all close together, but we don't know what goes on behind doors. We don't know the lives of other people. Whether it's on whatever media we're talking on, it's easy to look at a picture and think that everything is hunky-dory, and it's not. And so when your life doesn't match those of others, because people tend to brag about their children, which is nothing wrong with that. We all want to brag about our children, but everybody's story is not like that. So in between the time I'm hearing all these stories about how this person's child is doing this and that and this and that, and mine have not graduated. 4, not just 1, 4 out of 6. So my twins come along. They're the last ones, and they excelled in school and also graduated for my first No, actually, they were my second graduates. My oldest son did go and finish his schooling. So they were the second graduates. And then came, I'm still not sure who came afterwards, whether it was my third daughter or I mean, my second oldest daughter or my youngest son. Um, I would probably have to get them together and figure out which one graduated first. So in these years, and this has not been too long ago that they all graduated, right? Now my daughters, I think they've been 10 years, my youngest have been 10 years graduated now, and my others probably somewhere close to that. But here, my oldest daughter had not graduated till just in recent months. And so I'm saying this testimony because when I talked to her, I wanted her to know how proud of her I was. And the reason was because a lot of times we feel that our lives have to be a certain way. You know, it's supposed to be, but it doesn't always work out that way. And I said, what a witness you are going to be for those your age who feel like it's too late for them, you know, they've given up on the thought of graduating. And so I'm very proud of her in that. I've come to learn as growing up myself and getting older, I've come to learn about life that where I can look back on my life right now. I'm 58 years old, and I know some of you might calculate, you know, how old my children were and all of these things, but I'm 58 years old. And in my 50s, I've done a lot of reflecting over my life, and so there are days I get and I think, man, if I had to did this, I had to did that. Maybe this would have turned out this way. And you're talking to someone who's not, you know, I don't have a lot to brag about, but I can proudly say I take care of my mother. My parents are 91 and 90. That'll be 94 next month. This is October. Today is October the 20th. And so I'm very proud to say that I am blessed to be able to take care of my mom and dad, who are both living and who are still married, 74 years. So even though if someone had asked me when I was younger where I thought I would be at this age, it's probably nowhere close to where I am. And that's okay, you know. So our lives are for others. And no matter what the age, this is what I was going to say. I could think of 100 things I could have did in my 20s or in my teens or in my 30s or in my 40s. These are things I could think of. All I can do is make a difference in this moment. I have to remember that although, yeah, I can be an example to a 20-year-old or a 30-year-old or even a teenager or whatever, but I also can be an example for someone who's 58. So when I was thinking about my daughter, I said, yes, she could have graduated at 18. She could have, you know, went off to college, did this, that, and the other, like we think life is supposed to go, the way we think life is supposed to go. But she'll be an example to someone her age who says, you know, hey, I haven't graduated and I've done all these wrong things. It's too late for me. So my testimony is this: just remember, no matter what your age is, young or old, especially if you're older, it's not too late. You're going to be an example to your age group. And it's okay that life didn't go the way you thought it should go or you had planned it to go. You know, if we live long enough, we're going to face something in our life that may be embarrassing. Because even those people we think are living a perfect life, they have something they're not proud of. Something. And it might not be on the same scale as us. It might be, there's something might be nothing to us. But just keep in mind that it's never too late. And you can be an example for your age group. So where I may not have done all these things up till now that I thought I'd do, it's not too late. I can be an example to my age group. And if I get started now in 10 more years, I'll be able to say, hey, I didn't do it at 28, but hey, I did it at 58. Check that out. So that's my testimony today. Some of you are out there, you have children who aren't the A+ students, who aren't the great athlete, who may not have graduated from high school, who may have gotten off to a rough start, who may have spent time in detention centers. I got stories like that. If I could tell you the whole story, sometime I might tell you some of them. But just keep in mind, when you're looking at other people on videos, realize that it's not always about the face. It's not always about the smile, the little pictures we see with the family sitting together. Because I can tell you, I know for a fact, there are some people who are perpetrating real good on these pictures, if you really knew what was really going on. So just be real with people. Don't be afraid to give people your testimonies. Yes, there will be judgmental people. There are going to be judgmental people that hear this testimony. But I'm at an age I don't care anymore. You know, there was a time in my life that kind of thing would have bothered me. But my mom always say, the older you get, the less you worry about folks, you know. And it's true. When you've experienced a lot, you've gone through a lot, less people worry you. So for those who this was meant to be for, I want you to be encouraged. And if it wasn't meant for you, but you know somebody like that, encourage them. Say, let them know that this lady named Robin, who calls herself the Flower Robin, had some things similar happen. And I got a whole lot of more stories to tell. I'm smiling now. I wasn't smiling then. But I'm grateful to God that I was able to live, to give the testimony. And I pray that someone is encouraged by my testimony. And with that, didn't mean to talk so long. And if you made it through this video, thank you so much. But stay encouraged. With that, I'll talk to you next time.